Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet again another episode of Sports Nonsense and Whiskey. I am back in this virtual studio with the fellas this week. Not in the actual studio, but we'll get there. We'll get there. Good to see you, fellas. Yeah, brought some souvenirs back with me from Disney World, so didn't get to join you as soon as I'd like to have. But how's everybody doing, Pinky?
Oh man, I just got back from my niece's graduation. It's pretty awesome, short, sweet, to the point. Only like 17 kids. It was pretty good.
Oh, that's like the best graduation ever.
Yeah,
Is
you
that-
can't go wrong there.
Is that a small school or just not really smart people?
It's the Branson Online School,
Oh, okay. Small school, then I assume, right?
small school, and it is actually really smart kids because that school's hard, man,
Yeah.
real hard.
Well, coming from
Any school's hard if you want to make it, Pinky.
that's true too. Yeah.
SP, how you doing, buddy?
I did all right. Just a little tired. Got back from a business meeting. Yeah, same old, man. Just trying not to pass out. I got a nap in today, so I'm feeling it.
Had a boy. I could have used a nap for like the last 10 days.
You been working or no?
I took 2 days and then got back on it. So I've been working since Wednesday?
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, man, were vicious. Vicious.
Business means sex. Boy, would HR have a problem with that one, Andrew?
Dude, I'll tell you, I literally messaged my boss and I was like, "Hey, just a heads up. I know I'm like working and back, but there's no way I'm going to finish all the work that I was assigned. So how do you want me to handle this?" And he's like, "You're not habitual with it. I don't really care." I was like, "All right, cool, because it's not going to be close." He's like, "How far away are we talking?" I was like, "About half of what I was assigned." He's like, "Yeah, well, it's understandable." So
Yeah, I like that.
But,
hat. That's pretty dope. Where'd you get that?
Shields.
Nice.
It's like Zach's got one with like all the fishes. These ones are like all the pine trees.
Okay. See, I thought it was ammunition from my.
No. I don't do that either.
Oh, okay.
That's not really my cup of tea either. But it's still a sweet hat. I'm a big fan of it. So I appreciate it.
It's cool. Good colors, man. I dig it.
So start Yellowstone there, buddy.
Yes.
Where are you at?
I think I'm on episode 6 or 7 of the first season.
Dude, it just keeps going. Like there is no slowing down with that show. I
That's
kept waiting
just
for like a
hard to
slow
make,
episode.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen.
It's surprisingly brutal.
Dude, yeah.
I told my brother, I'm like, think if Game of Thrones was about land in modern day. I'm like, that's
It is, dude.
that's kind of what this show is like to me.
I just finished season 4, episode 10, so now I got to figure out how I can watch the new season 5. So
Is it on Paramount Plus?
yeah,
It is.
I don't have that. So I've got my parents have it, so I can get it from them. But I also put it on record on my cable. So if it pops up and they do reruns or something, I'll grab them there too.
What does that even come out on? Like what station?
Paramount.
I mean, but what is
Paramount Plus?
No, Paramount. It comes out on the Paramount cable channel.
Oh,
And then they throw them all on the Paramount Plus streaming service. So here's the funny thing. I don't know if I've told you guys this or not. So I've been trying to watch this show for a while. Couldn't get it anywhere for a little while. Like it just didn't exist. Come to find out, when Paramount became a channel, they didn't have their own streaming service. So they sold the rights to NBC to re-air because NBC has Peacock, their streaming service.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Paramount then eventually got their own streaming service once they partnered with CBS, and there was a huge court battle on who got to keep those rights. And that's why it was so hard to find for this long without having to actually like buy the episodes.
It was like in this legal limbo is kind of where it was,
exactly. So it recently got settled, and that's why it's available on Peacock. But I read somewhere, and I don't know how true it is, that Peacock only gets it for a limited time before they no longer have the rights, and everything does revert back to Paramount Plus. So see what happens. But I've been told 1883, which is the prequel to Yellowstone, is just as good.
Oh,
and so I need to start watching that as well.
Did that come out before or
No, it just came out.
Oh,
like it came out this year, the same time as season 5.
Oh, interesting. So it's kind of like showing how they got to that point.
How Yellowstone came to be, yeah.
And it's got Sam Elliott as a Western, so you know it's good.
Right. Well,
I feel like that's just a key component.
I've learned if Benedict Cumberbatch is in a Western, don't go anywhere near that. So just light it on fire and throw it in.
Probably fair.
Yeah, that was awful. But yeah, no, I'm digging it so far, man. It's been pretty dope. Surprisingly brutal. I was like, that was not what I was expecting. I didn't expect it to be like that violent.
No, dude, I didn't either. And it's funny because when it first came out years ago, I wanted to. It just caught my attention. I kept meaning to watch it, and then one thing or another came up, and another show started or movie or whatever I was trying to catch up on. And when my family was here over Christmas, they were like, "Hey, you start Yellowstone yet?" I was like, "No, I'm just, I'm not sure if I'll get into it now." And they're like, "Don't watch anything else." They're like, literally, do not, just go watch Yellowstone. You'll be happy. It's like probably top 5 favorite shows easy now.
It's getting up there, and it's getting up there fast.
Yeah.
I gotta say that director is pretty phenomenal, man, and he's a good writer too. Because I loved Wind River.
Oh yeah,
Wind River was really good, and yeah, he's just got like this. I don't know. Think about him. He definitely knows how to portray that environment. So,
dude, like I said, it doesn't slow down. If anything, it just steps on the gas even more.
Nice. Yeah, it's cool. Well, I highly recommend it for anybody.
Yeah. No.
Haven't started that one yet, but it's on the list.
Yeah, Pinky, like I said, you told everybody they should stop whatever they're doing to watch Peacemaker. I recommend doing the same thing with Yellowstone.
Well,
look, SP likes it. It's keeping his attention.
It's got to
be. That's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody that doesn't like Yellowstone, except for a couple of the boys don't like the newer seasons. So they didn't like season 4 at all.
I think they're smoking a crack pipe without any crack in it. Like, I mean,
it could be.
It just, I mean, it's starting to, like, just when you think like storylines are gonna like tie themselves up in a bow somehow, it's like, oh nope, more shit just hit the fan.
Yeah, well, that's one thing I noticed too, is like things escalate quickly in this show. I think I'm so accustomed to like different types of writing where you're like, oh yeah, I see how this like probably toward the end of the season is going to come to fruition. Yeah. And it's like, how about the end of the episode? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, all right, we're just getting right into it. Okay.
For sure. I also like how you don't quite know. Well, you'll see this more, so I don't know. I'll say it anyways, because you could kind of maybe already see it through the first 6 or 7 episodes. You don't quite know what the time frame is. Like, was it a day? Was it a week? Are we talking a month? Like, they just kind of allow the story to go on, but when the next episode starts, you're not really sure how much time actually passed between those events. But it always feels fluid, which is what really kind of threw me off at first, and then I love it. So, yeah, I'll stop talking about it, but love that show.
Yeah, well, I'll give you my report, man. I'm definitely going to be binging it out for the rest of the week, so.
Word.
Yeah.
Word.
My goal is to finish Ozark this week.
I got to start that one too, from what I've heard.
Season 2, episode 2 now.
Okay. Yeah.
I'd seen season 1 and 2 before. I'm just rewatching it to refreshing the memory bank there.
I will say this. I was pretty pissed off on how it ended. Then I found out that wasn't actually the end. So then I immediately kind of like, oh, okay, cool. Well, because there was all this talk about how this was going to be the final episode and that was it. The show was over. And the way it ended, I'm like, that's the ending. I was like, wow. I was like genuinely pissed off. Like I vented to my brother about it for quite some time. And then finally a news article broke where it's like, what episode or season 5 is going to be about? And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, why were you guys saying this was the last season? You know what I mean?
Yeah, everything I heard was it's over. It's done.
Yeah. But now apparently
they broke it into 2.
Well, no, they broke the first season into 2 segments. They released the first, I think it was 7 episodes, and then like 3-4 months later, they released the second half of the season.
Yeah.
So that's what they had done. So that's why I thought it was literally the end, but no, there's going to be a season 5, and now I'm kind of curious about that.
I'm gonna have to Google that. I don't believe that. I believe that's it, my man.
Yeah, everything I heard was this is the end.
I literally just sent the article to my brother. So,
did you verify the article?
I mean, to what extent?
I mean, I'm just saying, like,
I mean, season
I've heard
4
Boys to Men playing in the background when it comes to Ozark.
Yeah,
so.
season 4 is the final.
I've seen like multiple articles here. Ozark showrunner teases spinoff could be set during season 5 timeline. So,
well, it sounds like you got a little bit of research in
Ozark season 5 release date is officially confirmed. Ozark season 5 news. I don't know. Everything says that it's I don't know.
Even Dan Patrick was talking about on their show the other morning how it ended and they weren't necessarily thrilled with it, but then they started talking about how, like, basically all shows that end, nobody's ever happy with the ending because it's the end of the show you really like, and so no matter what they do, it's always going to be shitty.
I think that, well, okay, I think there is some validity to that.
This one is saying there will not be a season 5 of Ozark.
Well, I can find articles that are talking about a season 5, so I guess we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I don't know. What I've seen, I don't know. We'll see. Let's just say I hope there is a season 5. If not, I'm not interested in anything else that comes from them. I'll just put it that way.
All right.
If that is how they actually choose and close out season 4, not interested. Because then I'm gonna slide it right on over with the whole Game of Thrones thing. Because I'm like, nope.
All I know with Game of Thrones is I'm very glad that those two dudes didn't do any Star Wars, because they would have just epically failed at that as well. Because obviously, once the source material ended, they had no idea what they were doing.
Right. Yeah, they were just going for a money grab at that point. But then again, I mean, they had to have been making a ton of money off of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, that's why, like, if I was HBO, I literally would have been like, hey, we don't care that people are going to be mad. We're literally going to wait for Mr. Martin to go ahead and sit his ass down and finish the series, and then we'll pick the show back up when it's done. Like, that's what they should have done.
I mean, that's tough to do with all the actors, and you're asking them to, like, there's no telling what those actors could go on and be doing and not have the time to come back for that season. So.
Well, yeah, but you tell the guy to sit his ass down in his New Mexico villa and finish the damn series in a year instead of writing all these other things for HBO. So
yeah, I mean, he was way behind though, like way behind. Like they were done with the book by season 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he said that he was going to finish the show when he was done eating. So that's
he said he's still going to finish the books. And I'm like, why would he even finish the books now? Like, there's just no real point to it. So,
or actually, you know what? Maybe he's big brain dude, and he went like 200 IQ out there, and he's like, I'm going to let them ruin the show so bad that people are going to want to read my book.
Could be, because he said flat out that he knows where he wants it to go. He told them where he plans on it going, and they didn't follow his direction.
Yeah. Oh, look at that.
So, a little bit of nonsense brought to you by Crown Royal Peach.
Look at that. He doesn't bring the good stuff to the podcast, but he'll sit at home and drink it.
This is from Vegas. From Vegas.
That's how it is.
I mean, from Vegas. Weren't you hanging out with him last week?
Did we hang out?
There was still a lot of whiskey at the thing. I didn't want,
Yeah. Mm-hmm, yeah. Yeah. He's hiding it from ESP.
Yeah, I know, right? He's probably dipping it when I turn my head. Had a look at.
Oh goodness! Oh goodness!
Camera's not good when I've got the background on.
Yeah, right. Can't see anything, man.
Yeah. Angel's Envy is the other one that I brought back from Vegas.
Yeah,
that's a solid one.
That'll come over to the podcast.
All right.
That'll come over.
What up, Cody?
All right, Cody. I think I saw Chris earlier too talking about the Avs. So I got the Avs and the Celtics game here in the background going. So
yeah, I figured Chris was leaving as soon as the Avs came on.
Probably.
Oh, I'm gonna need you guys to catch me up on some sports because I sure have not been paying attention. So
there's been a lot.
Since Cody's in the house, let's talk some hockey.
Let's do it.
Well, he was
just in time.
He was right on every series in the first round, was he not? I do believe.
He got every series, I think, except for Tampa. He'd have to correct me on that one.
Yeah, I was gonna say don't try to verify with me.
I thought he said that the whoever Tampa was playing was going to win, but that went 7 games and Tampa ended up pulling it out.
Tampa just beat Florida too in their first game of their series.
Yeah, I feel like the Lightning are just.
Yeah, that's what I thought. He had Tampa. Get out of here.
Okay. Hey, I wasn't sure.
He has Tampa losing to Florida this round, though, is what he had. So that President's Trophy is going to come back to bite him in the ass, I think, because Tampa looked pretty good tonight.
Yeah, I mean it's one night, and okay, yeah, he hit most of his predictions for the series, just off by a game or so.
Well, he got every series prediction correct. He just didn't pick the games necessarily in which they would end in.
Yeah, I put 40 down on his prediction and won some money, so that worked out.
Nice.
Not a boy, Cody.
Riding with him again this series, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully,
they're about to go
again.
gangbusters tonight on St. Louis. Probably looking at sweeping another series the way they've been playing, so that'll be nice to watch.
It would be nice to see another good sweep, get some more rest. When our guys are rested and can fly, it's going to be good.
That's right, Cody. You did miss. I told you to be don't be going against Crosby and Evgeny Malkin, and you didn't. And then New York came and bit us both in the ass. But Crosby missing those, what was it, 2 games from that cross check? That was a vicious little hit. So that put him in the hole because they were up 3-1 or something like that when he got hit, or 3-2. 2-1, I can't remember exactly, but yeah, I mean, when Crosby went out, that changed the series drastically. So that was brutal.
Playoff hockey, I guess ratings have been pretty good. I mean, for the games that are on more than cable.
Did you watch any of those Game 7s?
No, dude, I was busy.
Playoff hockey Game 7 is intense enough. Playoff hockey Game 7s that go to overtime are insane. Like, you can feel the intensity through the TV. It's absurd.
Got a little bit of a lag over here, I think.
Oh yeah, that's definitely what it's looking like.
Yeah, for sure.
I was like, how long have you been drinking, Pinky?
Not long enough. I don't know. Can I remove myself from the stream?
Probably not.
Oh, okay.
All right, I guess you can.
Peace.
Later, buddy.
Hey, oh, hey. You can't get rid of me, guys. You can't get rid of me. I'm like herpes. I never go away.
Okay. Came around the same way, too. That's kind of weird. All right. What else we got? I don't know anything about sports, man.
Well, I think right now it looks like Avs and Hurricanes, or Avs and Tampa, are kind of looking like they could be the teams that end up in the finals, just based on the way they're playing. But I will say Edmonton and Connor McDavid are looking really scary right now. McDavid is just so good. And he's definitely the new young talent in the NHL. He's the top dog. And I mean, he's the best player in the NHL right now. So what's crazy to me is people say he hasn't even hit his stride yet. So how much better he can get is kind of scary to think about.
He's still getting better.
Yeah, for sure. And he's got 2 MVPs and he's only like 25. Probably going to win a third this year.
Is he up for a third?
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Has anyone else done that?
I mean, he's starting to get some comparisons to the great one at this point, which is really absurd.
I'm sure Gretzky won quite a few.
Yeah, I'm not up on my hockey history, so Cody would have to give us a heads up on that one. I don't know how many Gretzky has or had when he was younger and things of that nature, but
I can throw names out. You know, Gordie Howe, Steve Yzerman, the great one, Brett Hull. Like, I know names, but I don't know anything about what they really accomplished overall.
I mean, I've got an idea of their accomplishments, but as far as the Conn Smythe and stuff, I wouldn't really be able to tell you who's won those and not won those. And probably as well as I would like to.
Our buddy Billy's at game 1 right now up at Ball Arena watching the Avs.
The Pepsi Center.
Sure, let's go with that.
I hate how they do that, man. Hey, Invesco Field at Mile High, or oh no, wait, now it's
Walmart Field.
Jeez, man, so dumb.
I'm waiting for it. Gonna get those Sam Club seats. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's I hate how they do that.
Those are the ones that come at a discount in bulk, though.
That's right.
So we might be able to afford those.
Yeah. One day.
I've never been
Cody,
to a hockey
I've
game.
never been to a playoff hockey game. I've been to a regular season, but it's on my list of things to do.
I've never been to
Avs looking like they're starting possibly a dynasty here if they can get one this year. And then they just get scored on as I say that. So we'll see what happens. I should keep my mouth shut.
Right.
Oh, goodness.
Such a jinx you are.
I mean, they've got Cale Makar, who is already being talked about as possibly going down as the greatest defenseman of all time, which is absurd because it's his 3rd year in the league. But that's how great he's playing right now in these playoffs, that his name's starting to be thrown around with those types of things. So Avs got what they need to win. Kemper being back from his injury, little rusty, so it wouldn't surprise me if it's a rough game 1, but I still expect the Avs to come out on top.
I mean, the Avs score in bunches, so they could literally just rattle off like 4 goals and win 4-1. I mean,
that's very true.
They did that all year.
Anything else for hockey? Either of you? You got anything else you'd like to contribute?
I mean, you could just feel the energy. Twitter is pretty crazy right now with Avs stuff. At least, Colorado based.
For sure.
It's been pretty nuts. Just Avs. So I always think that's fun to see, to kind of see, the fan base get energized and excited. No matter the sport. I just think that always just builds camaraderie and can actually help build the fan base.
I heard a crazy stat today that the average hockey shift lasts 47 seconds.
What does that mean?
So they've got lines. Think of lines as the guys on the ice. You'll have 3 different lines. Cody, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe 4 sometimes, depending on the rotation. But I believe 3 is kind of the common. And it's the 5 guys on the ice. So you got 10 guys sitting on the bench. You got 5 guys on the ice. When your line is up, your time's up, you skate your 47 seconds. You jump on the bench and new 5 come in. And that's how they sub. They just kind of rotate out like that. And it's usually done when the puck goes into the opposing team's end. You'll see him skate over to the bench, jump off, and cruise.
Gotcha. How many people are on an NHL team anyways? Like how many players?
I don't quite know.
20?
That sounds like a good number. I know there's 5 guys on the ice plus the goalie at all times.
They talk about 3 or 4 lines deep.
That's what I'm saying. So, but yeah, 47 seconds I heard was the average line time on ice.
Gotcha. Huh. Interesting.
So I thought that was kind of crazy when you think about other sports. And obviously hockey's kind of like basketball in the sense that you're playing offense and defense back and forth constantly. Cody says 22 guys on a team. And that, you got a backup goalie and stuff included in that. So, but you skate for 47 seconds and then you're jumping off and a whole new batch is coming in. So, now he's saying 20. So I was right. I do remember some things from when I really followed hockey, but I always thought those rotations were a little bit longer. And so to think about 47 seconds, I mean, that's 2 possessions in basketball. Imagine 2 possessions in basketball, and then you see the benches just completely shift and come on, and the whole guys on the court go off. It'd be kind of wild to watch.
$12 forwards, 6 defensemen, 2 goalies, 20 players. That's why we love you, Cody.
My man. Cheers, good sir.
He's like an NHL like intellect ticker. I like
Hey,
it.
now Cody, go tell your brother to make his pick already. Got a little dynasty draft going on right now, and I need Cody's brother to go ahead and pick so I can get mine in. A little best ball action, best ball dynasty. We'll see how that works out.
That could be interesting. That could be interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting for sure.
Not that I need any more leagues.
No, I didn't either, but you know what? Cody spit some hot fire to me on the concept, and it was hard to pass up.
10 is enough, man.
You're also, I feel like you're coming around to Dynasty a little bit more than you have been in the past. Am I wrong? Like, I feel like you're a little more lukewarm on it than you are cold.
Well, it helps when you've got decent guys on your team, but
you mean no offense, but when Sam's not helping you make a roster?
I mean, it wasn't horrible. We had a good roster. It's just we got to a point where we had all these players and no draft picks, and you can only go so far. You're either contending or you're building.
Yeah, there's no in between with Dynasty. There's no like, well, maybe I can do something here. It's like you're either at the top or you're at the bottom, and you better decide which way you want to go real quick.
I'm really not into like when I make mistakes, they haunt me. I hate them. And that like haunts you for years, not just like a week, like in redraft or just a season.
Yeah,
find a way to correct it, buddy. Find a way to correct it.
Oh, Cody.
I mean, I've got a mistake in our dynasty league that's still haunting me with Zeke. So you know, you live with it and you find band-aids to
we keep hoping for that comeback season. And
I still look. He was like number 5 or 6 last year in running backs for points overall. So not like he had a bad year. He's just not living up to what I gave up to acquire him.
You know, that's actually rather impressive with as much as what's his name did.
Pollard.
Yeah.
Like I said, Pollard isn't. He's just not. Everybody tries to hype him up, and he's just not what everybody wants him to be. He's not who he is.
Pollard's good, dude.
I'm not saying he's not good. He's just not. He's a good football player. He's not a good fantasy player.
Yeah. You know, actually, who Pollard reminded me a lot of? Josh Jacobs.
No.
What?
No. Jacobs is good for both. I mean, he's a 3-down back for the Raiders. Like, you know, it's that's value
till he gets hurt, like Pollard did.
Well, yeah. So he's got some, injury issues.
Jacobs is a hard-nosed runner though, so he's always going to have some nicks and bruises and stuff because he just runs right into contact.
Well, and it also sounds like Mr. Jacobs isn't going to be with the Raiders after this year, unless he wants to sign a really cheap deal.
With McDaniels there, they're never going to pay a running back.
Probably not. And they we'll get into that. But I mean, with them drafting Zamir White out of Georgia, they've got another guy to fill his shoes pretty much right away. So they'll just keep churning him. But before we get into football, there's been quite a bit of basketball, and I have a feeling you guys haven't really kept anybody up on that front. Would I be incorrect?
I mean, we tried.
Was he giving me the finger? I couldn't see except for the background.
I don't know if he was trying to point at something.
Something off to the side over here. I don't know. Like, oh, Pinky, I love you, buddy. All right. Well, if you talked a little bit and at least gave the people who's moving on and stuff, then we can jump into the conference semis here that are going on right now. So out east, you've got the Celtics and the Heat. I said the conference semis, didn't I? It's the conference finals. Apologies.
Yeah, conference finals.
Celtics and Heat. I do like the Celtics to move forward in that. I don't know if you remember or not, but I said if Chris Middleton doesn't come back healthy, it's going to be hard for Milwaukee to beat the Celtics. They were the hottest team in the NBA going into the playoffs.
They gave the Celtics all they could handle.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, Giannis Antetokounmpo is a beast. Best player in the world. I know Jokic won the MVP, but Giannis is probably the dude right now if you're starting a team. That's probably who would be everybody's first pick, and it'd be hard to argue against that. The dude is just and he's getting better. That's what's crazy is he's still improving, and he's only like 26, I think. So Giannis is insane, and he did everything he could to carry that team. And it's not like they played bad per se, but with Middleton being out, that's kind of their de facto go-to second scorer. Drew Holiday kind of had to step into the scoring position that's not necessarily his cup of tea. So Celtics definitely had the edge. Both really good defensive teams too. So with Tatum playing out of his mind and looking like he's a top 3 player in the league right now, having one of the hottest playoff runs in the history of the NBA, when you can say you beat Durant in the first round, now you're sitting there looking at smoking Giannis in the second round and then possibly taking on Jimmy Butler in the Heat going to the finals. If he can get to the finals and they win and he plays a huge role in that, Tatum's going to go down as arguably the best playoff run in history with the way he's going right now. So I do like the Celtics to win that series. I kind of still like the Heat to win game 1, but that's not looking great at this point in time at halftime. So we'll see how that goes.
Heat are up 1.
Yeah, we'll see. They haven't been playing all that great, but they do have a tendency to be more of a second half team. And they're both really good defensively, so it's going to be a dogfight. Out in the West, you've got Dallas and my boy Luka Doncic.
Well, let's talk about the Mavs epically destroying the Suns.
Dude, I told you, Phoenix isn't that good. Like, they're just not that good. And Chris Paul looked like he hit old man time's wall the last 5 games of that series. First 2 games looked really good. Last 5 looked terrible. And Jason Kidd, mad props to that coach because he was one of the best point guards of all time, knew what it takes to shut down a point guard, and they did exactly that to Chris Paul and made him look foolish. Devin Booker does not look like a superstar. He looks like a good player, but not a superstar. So he's got to figure out how to get his stuff together. Luka Doncic looks like the truth. And that man, I said it the night that nobody picked him up until it was like pick 3 or 4. Like, that dude should have been number 1 easy. Instead, DeAndre Ayton went 1. And then Atlanta was foolish enough to trade him to Dallas for Trae Young, which was mind-blowing to me. And I've heard people constantly over the years say, oh, they're even. Luka, Trae, they're right there together. Nah, hell no. I've been saying it for years. Luka is 1,000 times better than Trae Young. Trae Young's a nice point guard. He's not going to go down as a Hall of Famer. Luka is going to go down as a Hall of Famer and an all-time great. There's people comparing him to Larry Bird right now with just better ball handling skills. That's scary. That's scary good. So I am a huge Luka Doncic fan. I'm a big Dallas Mavericks fan because I love Mark Cuban. I love Dirk Money Nowitzki. So I've always had a little soft spot for Dallas. Watching Luka do gangbusters on that Phoenix team was sweet. Now, I think Dallas is going to hit a roadblock here. I don't see them getting to the finals. Golden State is just getting better. They're getting healthier. They're learning how to play together again. Look, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and Steph Curry played like a total of like 11 minutes together in the regular season. Something stupid like that. So they're playoff built before this season even started. So all they needed to do was get together and start playing on a regular basis. Klay's starting to look like a little bit of old Klay. He does look like he's lost a bit of a step, which is unfortunate because he used to be arguably the best defender in the NBA. So I was hoping we could see him get back to that because him guarding Luka would be a really fun matchup, but that's just not going to happen. So they'll send Andrew Wiggins, probably will start on him if I had to guess. Klay will get matched up on him. Draymond Green's going to get matched up on him. They'll probably throw Steph and Poole on him for little short spats just to kind of expel some energy on him as much as possible. But I don't see Luka having a bad series. What I do see is him not being able to get the rest of his teammates up as much as he did against Phoenix. And I honestly think Golden State will probably win this in 6.
5 is what I'm thinking.
No, maybe, but I think 6 is probably. I think Dallas can steal a couple.
Dallas is going to steal at least one because the Warriors will have that game where they're just a little off shooting wise, and they really, they don't create a lot of buckets. They just they can shoot from anywhere on the court, and when they're
dude, Pinky, wrong. Pinky, I'm sorry, but that's just wrong. They create everywhere, and part of it's because they can shoot from everywhere on the court. It spreads that defense out so much. Watch those games a little closer. You'll be amazed at how many just easy layups and dunks Golden State gets on a regular basis. And it's strictly because of how much they move without the ball, how much the ball moves when they're moving, and then the fact that they've got 3, possibly 4, depending on who you want to throw in there with Wiggins maybe, who can shoot from the outside on a regular basis. So I've said it before, they've got the 2 best shooters in NBA history on the same team with Klay and Steph. Jordan Poole's playing out of his mind. He's a little mini Splash Brother now. And Andrew Wiggins, if he gets hot, he can light it up too. So when they start spacing that floor and they start knocking down those shots, all of a sudden you're watching balls go backside cut layup. So I think that's where it's going to end up hurting Dallas, is they're just not going to be able to keep the pace. Dallas outpaced Phoenix. That's what really killed them. Phoenix looked old and slow, and Dallas looked young and quick. And they kind of pulled a Golden State on Phoenix, and I think they're gonna see what a real Golden State is. So I like Golden State and Celtics. I like Golden State to win it all, and I like Steph Curry to finally get his first Finals MVP and finally be cemented as one of the most prolific top 5 guys ever to play the game. Easily top 10. But we'll see. But I think you got a couple good series coming up here. Good, maybe not with how many games they go, but I think each game will be close with Celtics, Miami, and Golden State.
I've got Celtics and Warriors.
So they'll be fun. Both series will be fun to watch no matter how many games they go. I'll say that.
Oh, come on, Celtics. Let's go. Need some more points. I need Celtics to start winning. Let's go. Halfway through the third quarter, they only got 2 points.
Who's only got? Oh, the Celtics only scored 2 in the third?
Yeah, we're halfway done.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, these are 2 insanely good defensive teams, and the Celtics are technically missing their starting point guard. So rotation is going to be a little bit different, ball movement, pace of play. I mean, that affects a lot of stuff. And then Horford's out, who's kind of their de facto soul kind of guy. Old man weather, if you will, but that's kind of their soul, their energy guy, which kind of sounds weird, but he's kind of the one that helps them get going. So we'll see. I said Miami would probably take this first game because those 2 were out and it's in Miami. But I think Tatum's legit. That dude is legit. So we'll see how this goes. But it wouldn't surprise me if Celtics lost this first one and then rattled off 4 straight and 1 in 5. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that series is going to go 7 with the Celtics coming out on top. But we'll see.
Well, it's not looking good tonight. All right. What's next, Caleb?
You want to talk a little baseball?
I mean, Aaron hasn't said anything in at least 10 minutes. So what's another couple minutes?
I didn't want to talk baseball anyways.
No, I was going to say you guys should go for it because I got to go do something anyways. I was like, no, it's perfect timing for you guys to talk baseball.
No, I got no baseball. I got nothing.
All right. Well,
there's a couple cool things going on in baseball that we'll talk about here in the next couple of weeks. Kind of catch some stuff up finally, since we haven't really talked about it at all. But
great thing about baseball is we can fast forward to June and it would still be the same.
Well, the good news is for anybody who really follows baseball closely and also may or may not be a Rockies fan, they're doing exactly what we expect them to do. Real hot start and then completely fail before June. So they're right there, baby, right where we need them to be.
I want my Rockies to be consistent. I want them to give us hope, and then I want them to crush our dreams.
Yeah, all within the first month and a half of the season, right?
And they're good at it. Once it starts to get warm, man, the Rockies just they just tank hard.
Yeah, for sure.
And then they like figure it out and start playing decent baseball again. And by that time they're already out of it.
Yeah, that's how they get within like 10 games of 500 instead of being like 40 away from it. So, but they're awful. The ownership's awful. The GM's off. Like everything about the Rockies is awful, except for the fan base. The fan base is amazing because they're still putting butts in the seats and supplying the ownership with money. Go figure.
Before we talk our favorite sport.
Your favorite sport. Easy, buddy. Easy.
I will have that. Well, it's my favorite sport.
Right.
Right. So,
and yours and SP's. Yeah.
So we'll go with the
I watched the UFC fights last weekend, 2 weekends ago.
Is that the one where the dude straight kicked that dude to oblivion?
Yes.
Oh my God, I saw that highlight and that was
Michael Chandler to Tony Ferguson's chin.
Dude, that might have been the nastiest knockout I've ever seen in my life.
And it was so quick.
There's been some nasty ones.
It was so quick, and it's like they just show the slow-mo, and as soon as it like connected, the dude was out like midair.
Dude, his face looked like it was completely rearranged when that connected. Like that still shot of when the foot hits his face.
Yeah.
His face looks like it's shifted like 8 different positions. Like, oh man.
That will forever be a good meme or GIF or whatever they call it now. You can always be like, you got knocked out with that one.
No, they need to create a new one for that one because that was a curb stomp standing is what that was.
And I had to mention on that card, the women's fight, which was the co-headliner, was literally the worst fight I've ever watched. The worst.
Why?
It's that bad? Because they didn't do anything.
For a little dancing and a little wrestling, and that was it.
So there was none of that.
Old school UFC.
Like there was literally like 5 rounds of them like dancing and like I might throw a punch, I might not. Oh, I'm gonna throw that little thing that like it doesn't hit, but I'm gonna throw it out there.
Yeah.
For 5 rounds.
The techno drum beat.
Yeah,
that one. Is that what you're talking
about? Literally, like to me, like the champ didn't really do anything. The challenger didn't really do anything, but if you add up punches, the challenger technically had more strikes. So they did give it to the challenger.
Ooh.
But which was like, to me, it was like the challenger didn't really do anything to hurt the champ or but if
the champ's not going to show why they're the champ, do they really deserve to keep the title anyways?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't fault them for the decision. It was bad. It was really bad. So
okay then.
Okay. Well, I think some fighters are, like some sports teams where they're more afraid of losing the belt than they are proven to keep it,
Can't play scared. You play scared, you're going to lose. That's a guarantee in sports. Absolute guarantee. Well said, SP. Well said. Well, that sucks for that. But on that note, talking about fighters, guess who's coming back Thursday, baby? Guess who's coming back? T-Dub in the house at the U.S. Open.
Oh, okay. I was like, T-Dub. Who the hell's T-Dub?
I'm Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods, baby.
What does this have to do with UFC is what my first thought was. I'm like,
he's a fighter.
I was going to say, did he get beat again in some parking lot by another chick? I'm like, what? All right.
Well, all about them segues, baby. Improving every day, improving. But no, he's U.S. Open starts this Thursday. Tiger says he feels even better than he did at the Masters, and he does expect to actually compete. And there's some other big names. I won't go into all of it and bore you guys, but it's going to be fun to watch. It's out in Oklahoma. Really good course based on the setup from what it looks like. U.S. Open is always historically the hardest tournament to play the way it's set up. If you see guys +1 and winning, that's not uncommon.
Do they move that one around then?
Yeah, it moves every year.
Okay.
The only one that doesn't move is the Masters.
I was like, who the fuck wants to play in Oklahoma?
Hey, if the course is beautiful, man, anybody.
I hate Oklahoma. I boycott that state, by the way.
You give me a beautiful course and let me play on it for free, I'll roll up there and play 18. No doubt. But it looks gorgeous.
In the dead of winter.
The course looks absolutely gorgeous. It's going to be brutal by all players' talk so far. It's going to be a very tough course. The other funny thing I thought that ties into all of our nonsense, Justin Thomas came out and made a little comment, if you will, about the cost of beer at this tournament. So at the Masters, you're paying like $3-4 a beer, like, you know, low end prices for sporting events.
Mm-hmm.
The U.S. Open apparently is going to sell a bottle of Michelob Ultra for $18 a pop. And Justin Thomas came out and said, 18? That shit better cure cancer if somebody's buying that. And this is one of the top players on the tour saying that about what this course is charging. So I thought that was kind of silly and fun.
Maybe they just increased the prices so Tiger Woods gets home safe.
His wife, his ex, I should say, she was Nordic. So what do they drink? Vodka?
Yeah, I have no
Are
idea.
they on with the Russians? Are they drinking vodka? They don't drink no Michelob Ultra. You don't drink enough Michelob Ultras to go 9-iron on somebody.
Well, so what's the cost though? Like in comparison between the U.S. Open and the Masters, like how much is it to get in?
Tickets probably about the same as far as cost, but the Masters is like the U.S. Open's crazy. So I don't know exactly how it works, but those are kind of more open sale tickets. The Masters, you got to it's like a 10-year wait list.
Oh, geez.
It's very prestigious to get a ticket to the Masters. Cost-wise, I'd say they're probably pretty close to the same. But the U.S. Open's also really cool because up until this Sunday, they have local qualifiers. So you and me could show up to an actual U.S. Open qualifying tournament, and if we won, we would actually get to go play at the U.S. Open.
That sounds pretty cool, man.
So that's why it's called the U.S. Open, because literally anybody could qualify their way in. Obviously, you have to be good enough. That's why you don't see it happen very often. But
they're basically walk-ons for professional tennis or
professional golf. Yeah, man. You could have your Billy Madison could show up to a course and just throttle down and go ape and qualify to nowhere. The British Open's the same way. The British Open and the U.S. Open are the same way. The Masters and the PGA Championship, you have to be a certain level of money earnings ranked to be able to qualify for those tournaments, or you have to win another designated tournament that gets you an automatic qualifier.
Gotcha.
But that's one of the reasons I love the Open so much, is because there literally are amateurs who are like your local pro who qualified to go play. You don't hear about them very often because they don't fare very well at the actual course, but still one of the cool traditions that golf does. What other sport can you do that in?
Yeah, that's pretty dope.
Coming back to those beer prices, that's actually why Andy and I didn't hang out at the draft on night 2, because they're for like a solo cup of beer, it was like $12.
Yeah, but you expect that at the NFL draft in Vegas.
No, man, at the stadium you get like $13, get you one of the big ass 24-ounce cans.
I'm just saying, you're at the draft in Vegas. I'd expect to pay a premium.
That was the worst,
$18
man.
for a bottle of Michelob Ultra? No, sir.
Yeah, I was like, no, man, I'm out. I got whiskey in the room. Let's go.
Yeah, for sure. I got whiskey in my pants is what I'd be saying. Walking into that U.S. Open, boy. I'm going to pull out a big old bottle somehow.
I've got one of those clear flasks that is like hard plastic. The kids got it for me for Christmas one year. I was like, what are you guys trying to say, guys? But
dude,
it does work great.
That was really what I had to deal with for 4 days. I'd be getting one of those fake dongs that people use to pass drug tests. Go get me one of those and fill it up with some whiskey. Take that right in.
Nobody's going to inquire, right?
Hell no.
Just whatever.
They might give you some funny looks when they see you peeing into a cup and then slamming a shot, but you know what?
Just don't
That's
share.
how I can afford the event.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, why walk around asking if children want some?
That's probably not a good idea. You're gonna end up as a red dot in Oklahoma, buddy.
No doubt, dude.
Yeah, don't need that.
That's a state that's never gonna go blue.
Yeah, no joke.
That you could probably bet. I bet you could bet on that. That's definitely not gonna happen.
Man, that'd be funny. Yeah, that would be funny.
Yeah.
All right, Pinky. I think I'm done with the side sports nonsense, as you like to call it.
It's been 2 weeks, Caleb. I get it, buddy. I get it. You were holding that in for 2 weeks.
Oh, dude, there's a lot more that I wanted to say and talk about, but we don't need to go down those roads.
Hey, if only like somebody had a blog or something,
Yeah, right. I should really probably follow through with what we
vent
talked
all
about.
that stuff out. So,
Caleb's thoughts of the week.
yeah.
Oh goodness.
Yeah.
I was going to bed Tuesday night, and here's what I was thinking.
I mean, I finally got the TikTok set up, so maybe I should start, maybe using some of these social media things that this modern technology calls for.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna have a conversation after the podcast.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
gotcha. Oh, and by the way, to validate my previous statement and to show that you might be wrong, Caleb. So Tony Pollard last season ran for 719 yards, 2 touchdowns, averaged 5.5 yards a carry, and had 337 receiving yards. Jacobs had 872 rushing yards, 9 touchdowns. Pretty decent, especially for not moving the ball very much. 4 yards a carry and then 348 receiving yards. Okay, which one of those two guys are a backup?
Pollard.
Yeah, and he's still almost put within 100 yards of rushing with Jacobs.
Yeah, but he's short 7 touchdowns. That's kind of a big deal when it talks about fantasy.
Yeah, well,
like I said, Pollard's a good football player. He's not a good fantasy
I was not making a comparison in regards to fantasy. I said that Tony Pollard and Josh Jacobs were similar in regards to their styles and how they run.
I mean, if you want to talk about stats, maybe. Look, Jacobs is a 3-down back. Pollard is a...
Do you know why he's a 3-down back? Because they don't have another back. But
I mean, that's by design, right? I mean, the Raiders could have signed they signed Kenyon Drake and he flopped on his ass. So
he's always hurt.
Right.
It's just, look, if I was picking one, I would be taking Jacobs all day over Pollard.
I wouldn't. I don't even think it would be close, to be honest. But we will differ opinion when it comes to that. I would definitely take Pollard over. He's a bigger guy too.
No way.
Yes, he is.
Jacobs is better or bigger.
He's not
Jacobs
big.
has to be
talking
bigger.
about height or weight? What do you guys compare?
I bet they're about the same height, and Jacobs probably has 20 pounds on him. If I had to guess.
I know Pollard is 2 inches taller than Jacobs, but I don't actually know.
I think Jacobs is thicker.
I'll pull this shit up real quick. Give me a second here.
They're 11-pound difference, yeah. So Jacobs is 5'10", 220. Pollard's listed 6 foot 209.
Yep.
It's the thickness, it's the legs, it's the butt.
Hey man, look, you can be a Tony Pollard fan because you're a Dallas fan. I personally haven't seen anything from the dude that says he needs to be on my team.
Oh,
I literally a starter, and if that's not good enough for you, man.
I mean, look, I'm just saying there's probably at least, I bet I could name 15 other backs that I'd take over Pollard without even blinking an eye.
15 other like
running
hold on,
backs.
let's compare them. Okay, are you comparing backups though? Because how about
I'm talking just, dude, if he was that good, he'd be starting over Zeke.
I mean, Pollard's probably the best, arguably besides Hunt, probably the best backup. But Hunt should be a starter somewhere.
Agreed, and I think Pollard should as well. And
he's got injury issues too, man. He can't stay healthy.
He got hurt once. He got hurt once, and it was for like 3 games. And the other thing is, of course, Pollard, even if he was better than Elliott, they're not going to start him because they're stupid enough to pay Elliott. So that's the only reason why he wouldn't be a starter. I petitioned. I told you back then. I said I would not have given Elliott that contract, and I would have kept Pollard as a starter.
I don't think anybody would have, honestly. I'll agree with you there. For what Zeke was asking, I would have let him walk, and I would have kept Pollard. So we could easily agree on that. I'd rather have Zeke than Pollard, just not at that price point.
Depends what Zeke I'm getting. If I'm getting the one from last season or the one
I've said it before, we'll see what happens. But if he truly took his offseason seriously, like he said he was going to, and got his body right, I think you're going to see a nice bounce back year from Zeke.
That's what they said last year. He was supposed to be trimmed down. He's supposed to be a lot faster. He's supposed to have way more breakaway speed. He's going to have better cuts.
Because he had those.
I think they weren't truthful about the
year Dak was out. He had those fumbling issues.
I honestly think they weren't truthful with the knee injury, and that it was never right for the whole season. That's what I believe. And he wasn't the type who was. I mean, I'll give Zeke credit. He toughed it out all season. I think is a lot worse than they ever really gave the true information for. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, well, I think Pollard has only one more year, right? Isn't this his last year with Dallas?
I think so.
Yeah, he's only got 1 year left on the contract, and
yeah, because was he a second or third round pick? I'm trying to think of this.
I feel like he was third.
Was he third? Okay, gotcha.
But I mean, be honest. Do you think anybody else is going to sign him for the money he wants?
Who?
Pollard. I don't see anybody else bring him in as a primary running back.
He's not getting anything more than a, $3 million a year deal.
He's going to end up back in Dallas.
If Dallas is smart, that's where he'll end up.
I just don't see anybody else paying him big money to be their primary.
Yeah,
no, not a primary, but be a compliment.
You don't pay a backup or a third down specialist or whatever you want to call it. You don't pay them anything over $7 million a year. Even 6 might be high. So,
you don't pay that for him. You don't pay that guy more than 4 or 5 a year.
Right. So, if he likes Dallas, he'll end back up in Dallas. If he doesn't like Dallas and he thinks he can prove himself somewhere else, I think he's foolish, but he could bounce and maybe get just a little bit more. But I can't see really anybody right now who's going to do that, especially when you look at 2023 being loaded with running backs.
Yeah. Running back class next year is huge.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But look, like I said, I think he's a good football player. He's not somebody I'm rolling with in Madden or drafting on my fantasy team.
No, I hear you. Yeah, I don't know. I think he has a lot of potential. I think I don't know. I think they should have just committed and got rid of Elliott. And I think
it would have been interesting to see what he could have done if that was the case.
Not to mention how much cash they would have freed up for free agency and what other problems they could have fixed with that situation.
Well, I mean, haven't we learned, though, Dallas doesn't play the free agency game?
Nah, they don't.
No matter how much money they have to spend, Jerry would rather sign his own players to ridiculous deals than go out and pay somebody else to come to his team.
Yeah.
Jerry just don't play free agency.
Jerry looks at things like investments, you know what I mean? And he feels like committed that he has to kind of stick with them. And what he really needs to treat players like just fix and flips. You know what I mean? Just like grab them for what you can, get it, and then bounce on out. And that's
Jerry looks at his real football players like Pinky looks at his fantasy players.
They arguably draft about the same way.
That is my guy, and I am committed for life.
That's not completely fair.
Right.
I mean, it's got some truth to it, buddy.
He ends up just like Jerry Jones. Is like, now I have 20 years of dealing with this garbage team. So
hey,
he's got that one championship, and he's going to live off it for years, baby.
That's right.
I am going to live off of that dynasty championship forever. Forever. I mean, like, guys, remember when I went worst to first? Hey, miracles happen.
Right.
Lessons were learned. I'll say that much, man.
Quarterbacks get traded from shitty teams.
Friendships get left at the fantasy football doors, man. That's all I'll say about that.
All right. So what else we got on the NFL?
Oh, we got some stuff. Pinky, roll down a list that we talked about, man. We got some stuff to talk about.
So we've had 2 big things because we did a draft episode, but it was really just me talking about going to the draft.
Yeah.
We didn't really talk about.
Is that the one I jumped on for like 30 seconds to say hello, and then I went to bed and crashed?
Correct.
After walking like 25,000 steps that day?
Yeah, dude. Disney World, Disneyland is no joke.
Dude, no joke. I will tell you right now, I will never do 6 parks in 6 days or whatever the hell we did. Never again.
No, man, you got to break that shit up. You got to do
it's hard to enjoy that last one, man. I'll tell you that much.
You've got to do like basically like 1 day and then rest day.
Oh, I will say though,
go to the beach or whatever.
Side note, before we jump into this, if you go to Disney World at Magic Kingdom, you got to hit up Splash Mountain. Obviously, that's a must-have. Nostalgia purposes, it's a small world, not worth it. Small World Disneyland, cool. Small World Disney World, worthless. They got the Seven Dwarfs roller coaster though, that's more on the kid side roller coaster, but still a lot of fun. Highly recommend that. And then Hollywood Studios, I would say, is the bomb. So Hollywood Studios, you got to hit up the Slinky Dog roller coaster. That was a lot of fun. You got to hit up the I think it's Aerosmith roller coaster. That was really cool. You got to hit up Tower of Terror. That was awesome. And then the most epic thing I have ever been to at an amusement park, by far, not even close, hands down, Rise of the Resistance. I walked on to an Imperial starship. Like, I legit thought I left Earth for a moment and was on an Imperial starship. Like, that's how well they set. Like, it is epic. And the ride sucked as far as I'm concerned. You sat in a little box and you just kind of went back and forth.
Oh,
and
they have that in Disneyland. It's not good.
But you were on an Imperial starship. Like, I don't know how else to say it. I literally felt like I was in space for a moment. Like, that's how badass the surroundings were. That was worth it alone. So I highly recommend that.
Avatar was real good.
I say Epcot, don't take your kids. Find a babysitter for the day. You go with the adults because basically you just walk around, drink, and eat. Maybe a little shopping. So we all decided we could do an adults trip back to Epcot and really enjoy it. Not worth taking the kids to Epcot. Animal Kingdom was pretty cool. There was like this Yeti roller coaster that was pretty awesome. The rest of the group did that like 3 times. I was already suffering from my sweet disease at that point, so I was not feeling well at all. So I did that once. It was fun. There's a water ride that they all really enjoyed. But the one that was really cool there was Flight of the Na'vi. And you put on your little 3D glasses, you sit in this little seat kind of hunched over, and then you go on this screen, and it feels like you're flying on the back of one of those little wild I can't remember what
dragons,
they're called.
birds.
Yeah, I can't. I'm drawing a complete blank on what they're called.
It's from Avatar, right? That's what you're referring to.
Avatar, yeah. But it feels like you're flying through the forest, cruising around, and your seat never. It leans forward, it leans back, it leans side to side. That's all the seat does. It doesn't drop, it doesn't go up, and you feel like I felt my stomach drop a couple times just from the way the screen and everything was done. So that was cool.
That thing straps you in with a back pad that does not move at all.
Yeah.
So, and it's basically like stadium seating.
Yeah.
And it moves up and down and around. So it gives you that full motion of like your actual flying.
Yeah, it was cool. That was pretty cool. And then what's the other park? Is that it? Just those 4? I think it is just those 4. And then we did Universal.
I haven't been there yet.
I grabbed the little guy and we bounced early from Universal, and everybody else stayed and read some rides, and they all came back saying not worth it.
Although I will say, a lot of money.
The Hagrid roller coaster at Universal, that was fun as hell. That was the first ride we did. We did a couple of ones after that, and then little man was not having it. So him and I bounced. I went and swam with him for half the day and took a nap. So everybody else came back looking like they were just done. But that's my quick Disney World. The ones I said you got to hit up. Everything else is, whatever.
Nice.
Pretty much like Disneyland.
There's ones you got to do. Like, we've got no reason to go back to Disney World. We'll hit up Disneyland, do it in 2 days, be done.
What's weird is everybody I know that goes to Disney World, because that one's the Florida one, right? Disney World.
Yeah.
Everybody know that they come home sick. Like my wife, she came home so sick when she went, and this was probably
funny you say that, because now that I think about it, that's pretty much everybody I've ever talked to too. They either got sick while they were there, or they came back sick.
Yeah,
and not just COVID or something, just sick from something.
Yeah. I don't know what it
is. So that's funny you say that,
right? You got international kid disease just going rampant in that park. So
I will say though, it was cool walking around and just hearing a consistent amount of different languages being spoken anywhere I was walking. That was cool to me. That kind of caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting that, but I heard everything from, Mandarin to obviously it's still English, but Britain English, Australian English, German, Eastern European. We heard a lot of different stuff that I was just not anticipating. So that was pretty cool to know that it's still I might go back to it again at some point. Like I said, Epcot would be really cool with adults and no kids. But I wouldn't do it in 5 straight days like we did. I would definitely kind of break it up and relax it a little bit more. And then Zach and his family went and hit up the Kennedy Space Center, where they actually launched the rockets from. And they got to do a jet boat tour out in the swamps. They got to actually see like the Atlas spacecraft and the rockets. And they went and did that for a day. And they said that was really awesome. So there's other cool things that you can do to kind of break that trip up and enjoy yourself. So nice. Now I'm done. Let's do football.
Go at it, Pete.
I love Disney though too. I'm a big Disney guy. Haven't been to Disney World, but
I love Disney. My wife and I are huge Disney fans. I will say part of the disappointment was the fact that the characters don't walk around openly in the park anymore.
I mean,
and I understand why, but you don't just see Minnie and Mickey. You don't see Goofy or Aladdin and Jasmine or somebody just walking through the park so the kids can like hug them or take a picture or like that doesn't exist. They do this one parade a day down through the main street at every park with the main characters, and then that's it. And they're all on a car or a something or other, some moving contraption. They're just waving from a distance. So
is that all COVID related or?
It's got to be. I don't know why else they would do that. And if that becomes permanent, to me, Disney would lose a lot of the luster for me of like, it didn't have that like magic feel. You know what I mean? Because you don't see what makes Disney magic walking around the park like you always hear about.
That brings me a really good story from Vegas where, because at Disney World, Disneyland in the past, people dressed up as characters. They come up, they say hi, they take their picture with you, like all that. So, of course, LA and Vegas are very popular for having people dress up out on the street in costumes as different characters.
Or Elvis.
Yeah. I can't remember what character it was. I think it was Olaf or something. And Andy got so excited. And he's like, yeah. Goes up to him. He's like, yeah, can I take a picture with you? And they're like, yeah, $20. And he was like, what? And of course, before he got to that, I kept telling him, Andy, no. But I guess I didn't verbalize like, no, you can't do that. They're going to want money from you. He just ran right up to him like, let me get a picture, man. And they wanted a straight up donation. No, I'm not.
Doesn't he know you just walk up, selfie, and walk out?
Yeah.
Like, you don't ask permission, Andy. It's the strip.
Well, you could take a picture of them, but if you take a picture with them, they want that donation.
Drive-by selfie, baby. Hit them before they know it.
It's kind of dirty, but
we also learned
Avs just tied it.
Oh, yes. The other one, there's a dude, we ran into him 2 days in a row that would come up to you, want to shake your hand, like get your name, be friends with you, and then try to ask you for like, oh, hey, you can get us on Spotify. Here's our music. And then try to hit us up for a donation. And then when we'd say, hey, we don't have any cash, you're like, oh, we take Square app or whatever. And I'm like, no, man, I'm not giving you my card.
Like, maybe that's how we need to get the podcast really off the ground. Just go walk the Vegas Strip with like a little cardboard cutout and just like act like we're talking sports. And when somebody comes up to say something, be like, that's going to be a 20.
Dude, that's how they were in Memphis, man. When we went downtown, it was hilarious because in Memphis. All right. But check this out. They had a much different strategy. They come up and they're like, hey, how you doing, man? You from here? And be like, nah. And they're like, oh, cool. Well, what are you looking for? I'm like, I don't know, just a barbecue place. What do you recommend? It's like, oh, I know this really good place, man. I'll show you. Then they'll walk you down to it, talking and everything. And then like right before you get to it, be like, yeah, man. So do you think you might be able to help me out? Like 10, 15 bucks, something like that. And I'm like, I was like, man, well, at least they provide a service. You know what I mean? But it's like, you don't figure it out until the end that they're just beggars. but they're very kind beggars. Like they actually go out there and try to like,
I mean, he did Google Map it for you, buddy. So I mean, there's that.
No, I mean, he was literally talking about it. Oh, and go check out this place. He was like, like this little like temporary,
little tour guide, self-imposed
Exactly.
tour guide.
Right. And then
that's when you shake his hand and say, "I'm a big fan of human decency. Thank you."
Right. I don't know if he'd agree. But yeah, because we got to the restaurant and they're like, "Oh yeah, don't talk to people." It's like everybody's gonna do that to you here. And I'm like,
Aaron's like, "Don't worry, I'm good at that."
Yeah, exactly. That's
not
my
a problem.
Strategy. So I
should. One time I went out of my comfort zone.
Yeah,
never again.
See, I try to be nice and be like, and give people a benefit of the doubt. Instead, he takes me to some garbage barbecue place, man. So I was pissed.
I just saw Cody's message. Yeah, Cody, we got about probably a good 20 minutes, man. You're just gonna have to tell people to hold out because I'm not gonna take the time to see what's happened before I make my pick.
Is this a fast pick or a slow pick?
Oh, dude, it's a slow. There ain't even no clock on this thing.
They started the draft 4 months ago.
I mean, we're like 14 rounds in after like a week.
Good
so
Lord.
It might have been a little faster than that, but this is for that best ball that I was talking about, best ball dynasty. So 28 rounds, and we got to immediately then right after that do the rookie draft. So, but I mean, there's been a bunch of trades and stuff already too, so it hasn't been that bad.
I guess there's that.
I traded out, I think, like 7th or 8th round. I traded out my 2022 first pick, which would be the 9th pick overall of the rookie draft. And I got an extra pick in the 7th or 8th round, one of them, and I grabbed Justin Fields. I feel like that's a pretty solid deal. 2022 first for Justin Fields. I'll take that. In Dynasty, dude, Justin Fields is going to put up fantasy points. His team's probably going to be terrible, but he'll probably put up 15 to 20 points a game.
I don't know. I'm just not hedging my bets on him at all at the moment.
He's going to surprise people this year.
Well, Aaron, let me ask, buddy, since I know you're busy, you're running a business, got a lot of other businesses you're working on. Did you catch any of the draft?
No, just like highlights. That was it.
Okay.
Just check to see who pulled what positions. I know there's a lot of action, like trades and things like that. So, right. Caleb definitely called that. He said, nope, things are going to hit the fan and going to go nuts. And that's definitely what it looked like. Yeah, I don't know. But that's kind of the extent of it, man. I ain't got the time for it.
Celtics are getting blown out. They're down 18.
There goes my $30.
Yeah.
And I can't blame anybody but myself. Thank you, DraftKings.
I told you. If you want to make a basketball bet, talk to me, and then I just won't put money on it, and it'll be fine. If I put money on it, it's going to do the exact opposite of what I think it's going to do.
I felt pretty good. I felt pretty good about the Celtics. Again, I bet this was like 3 days ago. So it was before two of their best players were out for tonight.
That's
amazing. I went in to try to like cash out before the game, and it wouldn't let me. And
because them odds changed drastically, and they're like,
Dude, that is a straight rookie mistake, bro. Like even in the NFL, I don't put my bets in till literally the mornings of the games. Like that's it.
Unless you're doing a futures bet, there's no reason to.
Yeah.
Lessons learned. Well, let's talk a little bit about what happened. There's a couple teams I wanted to highlight. Andy, I know you're listening. Chime in anytime. I mean, shoot, I think we can even invite him if he's home. Let me see if I can even get him. I don't know what's his email. All right. So while I'm doing that real quick, I think it'll be pretty easy. Caleb, I'm pretty sure you can go into this. The Jets won the draft.
Easy.
Which, again, they're not a great team to begin with, but...
No, but what they did in the draft definitely makes them competitive.
I think it helps a lot, and it's exciting. When a team's been down for so long, it's hard to root against them. The Lions, the Jets, the Browns.
Oh, yeah, that was the Browns,
Yeah. You know, it's like when they do something really good, you just be like, that's awesome. And the Jets did, man. I loved their draft. And, you know, Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, when you got 2 picks in the top 10, tough to screw that up. It really is. I think those 2 guys are going to be great players for him, but I loved them trading back in and getting Jermaine Johnson. I really think there's nothing like he's not a super freak or anything, but the dude's just got a high motor, man. And sometimes those guys who have good size and a good motor, they get pressure on the quarterback, man.
Swagoo said he was the best pass rusher in the draft based on what he saw on tape. Loved him. Absolutely loved him.
There were absolutely quite a few people that had that take as well, that he might have been the best.
And I think Breece Hall could be one of the top 2 or 3 running backs in next year's draft, even with the talent that's coming out. That dude he could be special for the Jets. So they hit on every pick they made.
So they even drafted a decent tight end.
Oh, you're talking about Rucker out of Ohio State?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, he's going to be real good, I think. He
Booker
got overlooked because of all the wide receivers there.
Man, you're coming in. Homeboy's got some good lighting. He's coming in HD over here.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say, I'm in the bedroom. I was playing Fortnite with Luke while listening to you guys. So
I just had this epiphany, with the difference of types of smiles, right? Like, for example, Andy has a very infectious smile, right? You see him and you're like, hey, this guy's a cool dude. And you kind of want to hang out with him. You see me and you assume I'm going to kill you. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I know that smile. You know what I mean? Like, he's about to do something. That's a felonious smile. And I just had this weird epiphany. I'm like, oh, I see what the difference is now. You know what I mean?
Andy, you keep that camera pointed on you, man. We're trying to keep a family show here.
Oh, yeah.
It's shaved, Caleb, all the way down.
There was not an inquiry. Not in any sense whatsoever.
That's all truth as well. I can confirm.
They're real close, audience. Real close.
Real close, yeah.
But a honey sandwich one time.
Andy loved the Jets draft as well.
I did, yes. Very good.
We talked about that a lot.
Trying to frame the shot. Jesus.
It did not work, my friend. I think you tried to put Chiefs in there and you forgot Broncos, baby. Broncos.
Is that what we're doing now?
Yeah. It's trendy, Caleb.
I just need to go.
Yeah.
Go get my setup next.
You guys want to see it move? I'm joking.
Moving on to the next team that I thought killed it, and they're probably they may have had an even better draft than the Jets. It's close. Ravens.
Yeah, Ravens phenomenal. Yeah.
Ravens was a good draft.
Yeah.
So Kyle Hamilton, who was arguably the best player in the draft, he just happens to play safety. Tyler Lindenbaum, projected to be the top center in the draft. David Ajabo, who was a top 10 pick before he tore his Achilles.
Unfortunately, he's going to miss at least a year, like a full year. He's redshirting.
If they make the playoffs, he could come back. Because
there's no way, dude. He tore his Achilles on his pro day in February.
Demaryius Thomas tore his in preseason. He came back halfway through. Demaryius Thomas. The year with Tebow. He tore his Achilles in training in OTAs, and he came back and played 8 games.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes, he did.
I'll fact check it. Don't worry about it. Keep talking.
Please do. There's no way in hell.
Aaron's got us.
I'm with Caleb. Who's Demaryius Thomas?
Also,
how dare you?
That's going to end this podcast real quick, Andy. You might have hurt Pinky's feelings.
Yeah. But yeah, Isaiah Likely too. The other tight end they got. I mean, didn't they also get
picked up 2? And Likely's the second guy. He might not even play this year based on who they already have in front of him.
So
correct.
They got Travis Jones, a defensive tackle that I really liked. Yeah. They also picked up a 6'9" offensive tackle, Daniel Falele,
Yeah,
Who
Flaley
was also a guy that I really liked. Being at the draft on day 3, it seemed like they were always on the clock. I'm not going to lie.
They doubled down on their run game. They didn't do a whole lot to help Lamar in the passing game, especially trading Marquise Brown away.
Yeah.
But they definitely are going to be good.
That's what Pink and I were talking about earlier. The Ravens with that offense, if you have a wide receiver on their team, they're not using him right. They don't get anything out of those guys as much as they could.
The only thing I can think of is they are that high on Bateman. And Bateman's a beast coming out from Minnesota. And he looked pretty good when he got healthy last year, too. So it could just be that they think they've got Bateman and they don't need Marquise Brown there. But, I mean, it's a bit of a risk in today's NFL to tell your quarterback, hey, you don't need that many receivers.
Yep.
We're just going to throw it to Andrews and Bateman and the running back, and then you're going to run a lot. We're good. We don't need
I mean, if Dobbins really comes back healthy, he can catch out of the backfield.
Yep.
I think I'm really high on Dobbins. So him healthy, they're going to have some weapons. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. And they can just run a bunch of 2 tight end sets too.
We'll probably get a little bit more into it later, but I really think the Ravens are going to win the North.
Yeah, we'll get into that later. Let's not go down that road just yet.
Early. I know Andy could probably agree with this as well. Him and I were simpatico at the draft. The Eagles.
Yeah.
Jordan Davis.
Who saw that shit coming?
Yeah. That was
AJ Brown. Like, Titans, what are you doing?
Dude, who saw? Well, and I saw an interview with Vrabel, basically saying
he's
AJ Brown's biggest fan, but he told him, like, the way they're building the team, they can't go up to the price that they want him at.
3 weeks before the draft, Vrabel actually made that kiss of death of saying there is absolutely no way we're going to trade AJ Brown.
I don't think he thought AJ Brown and his agent were actually going to hold to that number. I mean, the contract he signed with the Eagles as soon as he got traded is stupid money.
Correct.
Stupid money, man.
It's $25 million a year, which for a guy who's not been completely healthy, great when he's healthy and out there, but I mean, again, you got to be available.
They paid him like a top 3 wide receiver in the league. Are you going to say AJ Brown's top 3, even top 5?
No.
So,
top 10, maybe.
I think it's really good. He could grow into that figure to make that contract look better for sure. But God damn, I did not see that coming.
So for the Eagles to trade a first-round pick for AJ Brown, and they'd already traded picks to the Saints to get a first round for next year as well, like they're just killing it.
Dude, they did work the way they moved that draft around for sure.
They picked up Cam Jurgens.
Yeah, they did, baby.
Nebraska, which is a great pick for them. And then they picked up Nakobe Dean.
Yeah,
sneaky good.
Which, again, we don't know the medical. I mean, obviously, he fell to like the 3rd round. So his medical had to be scary enough that a lot of teams were just like, yeah, we're just not going to take that. But in the 3rd round, like, why not?
Absolutely.
Like, why? Like, there were so many teams in the 3rd round that didn't pick him. That made no sense to me. Like, it's the 3rd round, guys. Your 3rd round guy is 50-50 going to be a starter. Yeah. If you miss out on it, you really don't care. But if you hit a superstar like Nakobe Dean in the 3rd round, crazy.
I just went up 2-1. Yeah, absolutely. It's again, what do I keep saying about the NFL? Square peg, round hole. And they refuse to jump off of that boat and find a new one for some reason. So a lot of the Nakobe Dean stuff too is, you know, his measurables weren't necessarily there. Go put on the tape.
Yeah.
What does the tape say? Screw what the combine said. Screw what his height and weight are. Screw what his broad jump was.
The tape says he played on an NFL defense because like almost everybody on that defense got drafted.
Correct.
And if you put on the tape, you see him making plays in that defense.
By all accounts, he was the leader of that defense.
Oh, yeah, over Quay Walker and Shane Tyndall. Yeah, he was it. Devontae Wyatt, I mean, Trayvon. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And he did. He kept that team where it needed to be. So, yeah.
And how many teams? I mean, dude, the Broncos had a chance to snatch him up and passed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, you got a chance to find that type of middle linebacker, basically, for, you know, obviously he can play differently depending on what defense you're running, but a basic true middle linebacker like that can run sideline to sideline. Like, dude, don't watch the tape. Don't care what the measurables say.
So I got
undersized. He played with all this talent. Dude, yeah, and what did he do with all that talent? He showed out.
So I got two more on my list here that I thought just did really well. Jacksonville.
Surprisingly well.
Again, Trayvon Walker, Aiden Hutchinson, floor versus ceiling. They took their guy. They liked what Walker can bring athletically, and they think he has more in the tank. Okay. Then to trade in and get Devin Lloyd, who's, again, like Nakobe Dean, like freaking awesome at linebacker. He was a captain. He led that Utah squad. Great linebacker. They drafted Luke Fortner, which is a tough center. I can't remember what school he came from, but he was in the conversation with the top three, Juergens and Linderbaum. And then they come back and grab Chad Muma at linebacker as well from Wyoming.
Yep.
And holy crap, man, that's really good, man.
They definitely used their free agency on the offensive side of the ball and went into the draft with a plan of building their defensive side. And they did it smart.
I still don't think they're going to win more than 6 games. But I think you can't just you can't look at the Jags and be like, that's a bye week. Like,
no, absolutely not. It would not surprise me if they can get, because you can't go 500 anymore, but it wouldn't surprise me if they got to that 8 and 9 area.
That'd be rich
talent,
for me,
dude.
but...
They got some talent, and they don't have Urban Meyer. Like, their biggest addition was subtraction, like legitimately.
And I'm gonna shut up on the last team, and I'm gonna let Andy talk about them.
Why? So he can just pout?
The Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, this year's draft I was actually quite happy with. Yeah, it was.
It's amazing what happens when you guys actually have picks, huh?
Yeah, well, exactly, and we actually get some guys I like. So George Karlaftis, I love.
Dude, that pick, I can. Oh, yeah, that's so good for you guys.
We don't pick guys like that.
I mean, you and me talked about how much we like him. So for you guys to get him, I was like, damn it.
I know, exactly. Dude, there's all kinds of plays. Like, it's like when the Broncos took Javonte Williams. I was like, fuck, I like that guy. And he's been amazing. So that's our stuff. But yeah. So they've already had the rookie mini camp. And when Karlaftis was running drills, he wouldn't slow down. They actually had to have a coach put one of those like training straps on him where they run behind him.
Love it.
And it's still bragging the coach the whole time. He won't quit. So Karlaftis has just an amazing motor to him. Pink knows when we first took Sky Moore and or was it McDuffie, I was a little bit nervous on that because I liked Elam a little bit better. But now after getting to see some of the stuff, he's just a feisty little dude.
McDuffie's good. I mean, I talked about when we did our mock, I really like Elam out of Florida.
Same here.
But McDuffie's good. It'll be interesting to see how they can develop him because he's got the raw talent to be great. He just never seemed to put it all together at that college level.
Right.
And some guys are just late developing. So he's got the ability to get there for sure. So that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. So I was happy for him. And then, Sky Moore has a great potential. The freaky thing about Sky Moore is how big his hands are. So they were showing like his catches versus drop passes, and it's ridiculously low. Like he only had recorded something, this is not exact, but less than like 5 drop passes in his career. It was insane. And that was one of the reasons why Andy Reid was so high on him due to how we've had that problem in the Super Bowl when we were dropping.
Yeah. The only thing that worries me about him is when you play at that Division II level, or what do they call it now? FCS level. It's hard to gain a true perspective of the talent because a lot of those guys can be so far and above, and then a majority of the time when they do that transfer portal and they go up to FBS, they just don't show out the same way. So
He'll be
talent looks good on tape, but it'll be interesting to see what he can do against some real competition.
He's gonna do some basic stuff this year, It's for 2 or 3 years from now. It's kind of where he's going to be.
I mean, he went to the right team to be able to go out and produce first season. It's not like I'm not thrilled by Juju Smith-Schuster. I'm not overwhelmed by MVS. Like, who does he really have in front of him that he's got to beat out? You know what I mean?
It's funny. I think they only signed Schuster for 1 year, where they signed MVS for like 2 or 3.
3 for MVS, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's Kelsey and everybody else. So he's definitely got a great opportunity.
Yep. And that's where it'll be interesting to see. And then the big thing too, as you guys know, Justin Ross, that was a huge undrafted signing. So they say the only thing they've commented on after rookie camp is his speed is back. So he's got his speed, which, if true, because again, rookie mini camp is very
hit and miss, sure.
So, but that was quite awesome.
Justin Ross doesn't get hurt. He's one of the top wide receivers in college.
Correct. He is amazingly
talented. Clemson had a huge down year. Everybody kind of poo-pooed on a lot of their talent this last year. They just had a lot of injuries. Things didn't break their way. I mean, look at T. Higgins coming out a couple years ago.
Yeah.
He got hurt, and everybody was trying to downplay his talent. What does he do when he hooks up with Joe Burrow? He balls out because he's a beast. So Justin Ross is scary. I also think what you guys did with that running back position, it could be sneaky good.
Oh, yeah. Rojo would be our Ron.
Well, that's what you did in the offseason. Pacheco, though, I honestly think CEH is done. I said he wasn't worth the pick when you first made it. Right. But with Rojo being there now, I think he's going to ball out. I think Rojo's going to have a huge season. But Pacheco, that's a scary little specialty third down kind of guy that you can throw in there to supplement.
Yeah, great burst, over 210 pounds. Like he is, and he's a hitter.
Yep.
So yeah, that's another one. Yeah, it's crazy exciting to see. But I mean, imagine if Ronald Jones plays kind of like Kareem Hunt did. Well, we saw how good the Chiefs' offense was without Mahomes.
And what's crazy to me is people keep forgetting. And maybe I'm just too high on him. I don't know. But what I see on tape from Rojo is a beast when he's actually given the reins. A beast. So and you're talking about a dude who's only 24. 24.
Yeah, insane.
One of my favorite picks for the Chiefs was Darren Kennard, offensive guard.
Kentucky.
They did a much bigger video deal last year, but this year it's called the Big Boys Club, run by Jeff Schwartz and a couple other guys. And they bring the top offensive linemen in and they run them through drills and they basically train them for the combine. They train them for the draft. And he's in there and you listen to him talk and he's got a great story and it's hard not to root for the kid. And he's gigantic too. So,
he played right tackle at Kentucky. And as of now, they still have him on the roster at right tackle. They said he wouldn't be able to stay at tackle because he doesn't have the speed and his arms aren't long enough. But he is.
Again, what does the tape say?
He's a mauler. The tape shows that when he gets into pass blocking, when people go outside, he has a hard time. He'll anchor and they go around. When he can get into somebody, he owns them because he's so big. But the biggest thing is what does everyone do? Speed rush the outside, and then you stunt the middle. So that's where they're curious is if he can pick that up. But he has, just like Pink said, his story is phenomenal. When he got selected, he's with his mom and dad and like his brother, just another huge dude. And they're just all talking. And like, oh my God, you're going to pass block for Patty Mahomes. And they're just sitting there and his dad's like, you don't let anyone hit him.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a cool, like little story. And you just see him getting pumped up and just doing that quiet riot where he's just like, and you just see him and you're like, oh my God, he's going to go kill somebody in Bronco. Not trying to like him. So yeah, we'll see. Like there's a lot. I mean, as a Chiefs fan, like we talked about, the hope. The coolest thing is we finally had a draft where there's a lot of hope and potential.
That's a good feeling.
What's up?
I said that's a good feeling.
Yeah. So no matter what happens, I've got Madden this season. All is good. It's all gonna go well. But yeah, no. So it was a lot of fun. So there's guys. Then Chenal, the middle linebacker, he's got a great story. I mean, it's just they got a lot of blue chip guys. Joshua Williams again played at a different level. Or I think it was Division II, I think, but he was phenomenal. Just the lanky. We got 2'6'3" that run 4.4s, so they're looking for that type.
It's been a long time since Andy has enjoyed a Chiefs draft. So
Yes,
That's good.
it was
I'm
fun
happy
being
for
able
you,
to
buddy.
see him smile.
yeah. So I
All right,
made
Pinky, let's wrap this up here in the next 5 to 10 minutes here. There's a couple teams that you kind of went like, like, did you really just do that?
the Patriots. Oh
I
my!
definitely had. I mean, I don't even think I put the Patriots on the list because
you
their
did.
draft is just like.
You
Maybe
guys
I
saw
did.
the McDaniels Les Snead press conference where the Patriots made the pick, right?
Yes.
Oh, it's hilarious, Andy. So SP, you'll like this too. So Les Snead and
McVay
are doing their presser with their season ticket holders, the media, and all that good stuff during the draft because they don't have a first round pick, so they're just hanging out, chatting it up. And that pick comes in, and both their jaws drop. They kind of look at each other all wide eyed, and they kind of like chuckle a little bit. And then McVay goes, "And to think, we did our homework on this guy, thinking he'd be there in the 3rd round."
Yeah. Dude. Well, Andy knows we were laughing about it back at the once we got back to the hotel because there's like videos of him at the Senior Bowl getting mauled by every every defensive lineman that went against him.
Oh, Billy Boy finally might have lost his grip on football reality. Not having an offensive coordinator, making that kind of pick in the 1st round, like it might finally have the wheels starting to wobble a little bit.
Yep. Well, let's bring Aaron back into the conversation. Let's talk some Cowboys.
You don't like the draft?
Did you look at this at this, buddy?
I glanced over it, but you know
that's probably good.
Yeah,
because it's not good.
Oh, okay. Well, that's nice. That's the information I like to hear. Yeah.
I mean, their wide receiver. Okay.
What I told Andy, this is somebody the Chiefs should have looked at in the 2nd round.
Yeah.
Their defensive end, Sam Williams, did get quite a bit of sacks this year. He could be a player. I will agree with that. Their wide receiver
Tyler Smith was a great pick too. Well, I'll take that back. Not great, good. It was a good pick.
Who?
Tyler Smith, the offensive tackle.
Not at that position.
It might have been a little bit of a reach, but if you like the guy and you think he can look, they've been really good at drafting offensive linemen over the years.
Yeah, they have.
So if Dallas says that they think this dude's going to be the dude, I'm going to trust Dallas when it comes to offensive linemen.
Here's the thing that's funny, and almost every media outlet commented on this. Dallas was the most penalized offensive line in football, and their first pick is the most penalized offensive lineman in college football.
He's got a little Garrett Bowles in him.
Yeah, I wonder what we're doing wrong.
Yeah,
Now, I will say, based on what I heard and what I watched from some of his tape, it wasn't so much of the holding and stuff. It was playing after the whistle. And that's something easy to correct.
Yeah,
holding's hard to fix. Playing after the whistle is easy to get past.
You like that passion, you know what I mean? That guy's ready to
go. Damn right.
Gotta put that shot collar on there and be like, stop.
Jalen Tolbert was a sneaky good pick for them as a 3rd wide receiver.
Super fast guy. Again, I hate to say Dallas made a mistake by letting Cedric Wilson go, but
he's a bigger dude too. He's not just a small, fast guy. I think he's like 6'2", 6'3", like 205, something like that. He's a bigger dude too, and he can run.
Yeah, that's what we needed because we did lose a little bit of that. So that's good to hear at least. But I don't know. To me, I think we kind of need to pick and choose. We either
did draft a Dalton Schultz 2.0 and Jake Ferguson.
Yeah,
it's like literally the same player.
Out of all the tight ends in this draft that I really do like, I like Bellinger, who went to the Giants. I like Rucker, who went to the Jets. Dolschitz out of UCLA going to the Broncos. I'm drawing a blank. Who's the guy out of Coastal Carolina, Andy, that we talked about earlier going to the Ravens? Likely.
Yeah, Isaiah Likely.
Is it Weidermeyer going to the Colts?
Yeah, Texas A&M guy.
Bills, didn't he? Didn't Jake Meyer go to the Bills or something like that?
No, he might have gone to the Bills. Who's the other guy I'm thinking of that went to the Colts?
Jelani Woods.
Oh
yeah. Awesome. Yeah.
This was the guy that kind of surprised me because I think there was more talent available and potential, and they went with the Jason Witten prototype again. which kind of baffles me, to be honest with you.
Hey, it worked for a long time. What are you going to say?
I was going to say I put Green Bay on my baffling list.
Why? They had a great draft, dude. They had a great draft.
I think my issue was taking Quay Walker. My main issue.
Walker, yeah.
So I had two things here. My main thing was Quay Walker over Devin Lloyd.
I mean, you can argue semantics on that if you really want to, but they loaded up on their defense, grabbed a great wide receiver, in my opinion.
Devin Lloyd was arguably the best linebacker in football last year, and they drafted Quay Walker over him, who didn't play as much at Georgia because he was on a defense with a lot of great players. So they did take Devontae Wyatt, who I like. I did agree with them. At first, I was giving them some crap for drafting two defensive players over a wide receiver because their third pick was a wide receiver. But then I went back and I looked and I was like, wait, all the wide receivers went before they drafted. So they just drafted the next guy in the second round. So actually, that's pretty good.
And there was still a ton of wide receiver talent available in the second round. A ton.
Luke,
David Bell going
Luke,
to Cleveland
what's going on?
in the late second.
Go Broncos.
I think they did great, and they put themselves right back in championship conversation with that draft, in my opinion. They shored up their defense. They didn't need to go find another Devontae Adams. They've got two badass running backs. They just need guys who can go out there and run some routes, and Rodgers will get them the ball.
So, again, we did talk about the Patriots a little bit. Like, most of their draft picks, most of the guys I'd never heard of.
I was baffled by the Patriots completely. Bill Belichick tried to go big brain high level on everybody, and I think it blew up in his face.
But I'm baffled every year that the Patriots draft. So
they got another running back at least. That's always a positive.
They got two. They drafted two running backs.
So now they've got eight running backs that they can run out.
At least five, yeah.
I will say. They, in my personal opinion, might have gotten the steal of the draft, and I honestly believe this dude's going to take Mac Jones' job in the next year or two. Zappy is legit. You go back and watch his film. Yes, he played in a spread offense, but when that dude talks, he is super intelligent. He's got more athleticism than Mac Jones. He's got a bigger arm than Mac Jones. He's just as accurate. Do not be surprised if he takes Mac Jones' job in the next year or two.
Well, since I hope the Patriots suck, I hope you're wrong. But hey, if they wasted a draft pick on Mac Jones, so be it.
I was actually bummed that Zappy went to the Patriots because it's going to hurt his chances of getting an opportunity because Jones was a first round 15th overall pick. So they're going to give him every opportunity. Although Bill Belichick has proved he had Drew Bledsoe, could have easily let Drew Bledsoe come back when he was healthy. And he's like, nah, I got this guy named Tom. I'm going to let him roll with it.
He's doing fine. Now, this last one, and I think this really baffled everyone, including the Vikings fan that we were hanging out with at the NFL Splash Bash. Andy knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The Vikings traded back from 11 to 32. All they got was 32, 34, and like a fifth rounder.
It didn't make any sense. 0 sense.
For that amount of spots. Mm-mm. Now, the only way that makes sense is financially. Salary cap.
Yes, I kept waiting to hear that they got a 2023 first out of it. I just assumed that it was going to be reported. Oh yeah, by the way, now that we actually have the details, it's a 2023 first. They moved back to 30. No, they got a first and a second for the 11th overall pick.
We're hanging out with a Vikings fan when that happens. And the guy's just losing his mind, which I was just like, yeah, man, I feel bad for you. There's nothing good about that. They took a safety at 32. They ended up trading 34 again. Then they drafted three dudes. They drafted two guys, Andrew Booth as a corner, Ed Ingram, and then Brian Asamoah. And then they drafted a bunch of other dudes I hadn't even heard of.
Basically, I looked at their draft, and to me, what they're trying to do is depth. not starters. They were just trying to draft some depth.
Well, I know they have a guy that's like more analytics as their GM now, and it didn't seem to go well.
Brian Asamoah,
No, it did not.
Sneaky fast outside linebacker that's a passer. He's just small.
Yeah.
Andrew Booth has a perfect frame for a cornerback, and Lewis Sign, I liked him. The guy from.
I agree with all of that. I don't think they're bad players, but again, it feels like they drafted for depth, not for talent.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Like they're trying to win right away. Agreed.
Yeah. So it's interesting. Well, Pinky, my glass is empty.
What?
So I think it's about time we say good night to all. Yeah, that would be fabulous. Where do I? Over here? Is it up here? There we go.
Yeah,
pour that in there. Pour that right in there. I think it's about time we say goodnight to all of our wonderful viewership. Andy, always love having you on talking drafts and football. SP, I just like looking at your beautiful face, having you around.
Yeah.
You know, I don't hear that very often, so I'll take it.
Pinky, SP, Andy, anybody got any final thoughts they want to share?
This year is going to be amazing. It seems like it's going to be a phenomenal year. I am crazy excited to see what it does.
We'll head up on the next thing, which was
oh shit, Pinky's having a stroke.
Bless you, good sir. Bless you.
Thank you. NFL schedule release came out. Lots of good stuff to talk about that. We've got time since now we're going to go into NFL dead season, but that was really fun too. So
yeah, Pinky and I were talking. We'll eventually start breaking down divisions, records. Pinky and I are going to get together. We'll go through that. We'll throw out a sports nonsense and whiskey, how we feel things are going to run down. So we will get into that. Like you said, dead season's here, so we got some time.
right.
SP, give me your final thoughts for the evening.
I'm just looking forward to football, man, for multiple reasons. Not just, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on, and a lot of it has to do with the NFL. So when it gets to a point where we can chat about it, it'll be a pretty fun announcement. It has to do with a company that I'm working on, and so it's going to be pretty cool stuff, man. I think it's very unique, and get to involve my two favorite things, analytics and betting. So
love it.
Yeah.
Love it. On that note, as always, go spend that time with your loved ones, family, friends. Enjoy the moments you do have. Until next week, we're out. Peace.
Peace.